Hi dear, welcome to your favorite audiobook channel Wisdom Flicks, The Art of Self-Discipline by Kimberly Olson. In The Art of Self-Discipline, you'll discover practical strategies to overcome doubt, silence your inner critic, and build habits that transform your life. This is more than motivation. It's a proven roadmap to becoming the person who never quits. Are you ready to take control and respect yourself enough to follow through? Press play and start your journey today. Introduction: Why self-discipline matters more than motivation. When people think about achieving their goals, whether it's starting a business, writing a book, waking up early, or getting in shape, they often believe motivation is the key. They wait for that perfect spark, that electric feeling of being ready to act. And for a moment, they feel powerful. But the truth is, motivation is fleeting. It's inconsistent. It's unreliable. It's like the weather, it changes without. Notice that that's where self-discipline comes in. Self-discipline isn't about waking up every day feeling inspired. It's about showing up even when you don't feel like it. It's the quiet engine behind every successful person. It's not glamorous. It doesn't scream for attention. But it's what keeps people going long after the excitement has faded. You might not always feel motivated to go to the gym, but self-discipline will carry you there. You might not feel motivated to work on your dreams after a long day, but self-discipline will push you to take just one more step. Think about the people you admire most. Athletes, writers, entrepreneurs, leaders. Their achievements weren't built on bursts of inspiration. They were built on consistent action, repetition, practice, sacrifice. They were built on choosing what matters over what feels good in the moment. This book isn't about making you feel hyped up for an hour. It's about helping you build a foundation that lasts a lifetime. Self-discipline is the ability to act in alignment with your values, not your moods. It's the art of following through on your promises to yourself. And when you master this art, something incredible happens. You begin to trust yourself. You stop relying on outside circumstances to push you forward. You create your own momentum. So, why does self-discipline matter more than motivation? Because motivation is what gets you started. Self-discipline is what keeps you going. You won't always wake up with energy. You won't always feel ready. There will be days when it's easier to procrastinate, to escape, to delay. But when self-discipline becomes your foundation, those days won't stop your progress. You'll keep showing up, not because it's easy, but because it's who you are now. This shift, from relying on motivation to building discipline, can change your life. In the chapters ahead, we'll break down exactly how to do that. You'll learn how to rewire your habits, reshape your thinking, and build systems that support your growth. Whether you're struggling to stay consistent or simply want to elevate your life to a new level, this book will guide you through the process step by step. Let this be your turning point. Not a moment of short-term inspiration, but the beginning of a long-term transformation. Because motivation might light the fire, but discipline keeps it burning. Chapter 1. Understanding self-discipline. Before we dive into strategies, routines, or mental techniques, we need to pause and understand what self-discipline truly is. Not just the word, but the meaning, the feeling, and the reality behind it. Many people hear the word discipline and immediately think of restriction, punishment, or suffering. They think of hard rules, lost freedom, or forcing themselves to do things they hate. But this view is not only incomplete, it's misleading. Self-discipline is not punishment. It is not a system of control. It is not about depriving yourself of joy or pushing yourself to the point of exhaustion. At its core, self-discipline is about alignment. It's the ability to make decisions that are in line with your deepest goals and values, even when it's uncomfortable. Let's make this simple. Self-discipline is the bridge between your goals and your results. It's the invisible thread that connects where you are now to where you want to be. When people lack discipline, they often feel stuck. They set goals, but rarely reach them. They begin routines, but quickly fall off track. They make promises to themselves that are broken in silence. Over time, this leads to frustration, guilt, and even a sense of hopelessness. But when you develop self-discipline, everything changes. You begin to trust yourself. You begin to take action even when you're tired. You begin to live with integrity because your behavior matches your intentions. So, what exactly is self-discipline? At its simplest, it is the ability to do what needs to be done when it needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not. Think about that for a moment. How different would your life be if you consistently took action on the things that mattered most, even on the days you didn't feel like it? How many goals would you already have achieved? How much more peaceful, powerful, and purposeful would your days feel? That's the real value of self-discipline, that it's not about doing everything perfectly. It's about consistency over time. It's about staying the course, even when the road feels long. And it's about becoming the kind of person who honors their word, especially when no one's watching. Let's also be clear. Discipline doesn't mean pushing yourself relentlessly every single day without rest. It means being intentional with your time, your energy, and your focus. It means knowing when to act and knowing when to pause. It's a balance between effort and recovery. Now, there's a reason we call this book The Art of Self-Discipline. Because, like any art, it takes time to master. It's not about being naturally gifted or born with willpower. Self-discipline is a skill, and like any skill, it can be learned, practiced, and strengthened. In fact, the most disciplined people you know didn't start out that way. They built that strength day by day through repetition, routine, and reflection. And you can do the same. Here are a few truths to hold on to as we begin this journey. Self-discipline is a form of self-respect. Every time you follow through on a commitment, you're telling yourself that your goals matter, that you matter. Self-discipline is a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. And the less you use it, the weaker it gets. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be consistent. Self-discipline brings freedom. This may sound contradictory, but it's true. When you live with discipline, you're not controlled by impulses, distractions, or emotions. You gain control over your time, your energy, and your direction in life. Now let's talk about where discipline really begins. It starts with your identity. Too often, we try to change our habits without changing how we see ourselves. We try to act disciplined, but deep down we still believe we're lazy, inconsistent, or unmotivated. That internal conflict creates resistance. But what if you started to see yourself as someone who is disciplined? What if your self-talk shifted from "I can't stick with anything" to "I'm someone who follows through"? This shift in identity is powerful because we always act in alignment with who we believe we are. So, as we move forward, I want you to begin reshaping your identity, not by force, but through small, consistent wins. Each disciplined action you take becomes a vote for the person you're becoming. You are not here to try harder. You are here to become stronger. Let's end this chapter with a simple reflection. Think of one area in your life where discipline is lacking. Maybe it's health, work, time management, or personal goals. Ask yourself this question: what would my life look like 90 days from now if I became just 10% more disciplined in this area? Visualize it. Feel it. That future is closer than you think. Self-discipline isn't about changing everything overnight. It's about changing one small thing at a time, with clarity, intention, and care. This is just the beginning. In the next chapter, we'll explore the psychology behind your habits, why your brain resists change, and how to start building routines that actually stick. Let's keep going. You're not just reading a book. You're building a new version of yourself. Chapter 2. The psychology behind your habits. Before you can master self-discipline, you need to understand the silent forces that shape your behavior, your habits. These invisible patterns drive almost everything you do, from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed. And yet, most of us never stop to ask why we do what we do. This chapter is about uncovering the psychology behind your habits, how they form, why they're hard to break, and how to reshape them to support the life you want to live. Let's begin with a fundamental truth. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. And habits are your systems, and no matter how big your dreams are, if your daily habits don't align with those dreams, you'll always feel like you're falling short. That's because your habits shape your identity, your progress, and ultimately, your future. Now let's break down how habits actually work. The habit loop. All habits, good or bad, follow the same psychological loop, often referred to as the habit loop, made up of 3 key parts. This is the trigger that tells your brain to begin a behavior. It can be a time of day, a place, a feeling, or even a person. Routine. This is the behavior itself, the action you take, whether it's brushing your teeth, checking your phone, or going for a run. Reward. This is what your brain gets from completing the behavior. A feeling of pleasure, relief, escape, or accomplishment. Over time, your brain begins to associate the cue with the reward, and the habit becomes automatic. You don't even think about it. It just happens that here's a simple example. You're bored, cue. So you open social media, routine, and get a quick hit of stimulation, reward. Do this enough times, and your brain will begin craving that reward every time you feel bored. Even if the scroll leaves you feeling empty afterward. That's the power of habits. They bypass decision-making. And while that can work against you, it can also be your greatest advantage. If you learn how to design habits intentionally, why your brain resists change. You may have noticed how hard it is to break a bad habit or start a new one. That's not because you're weak or lazy. It's because your brain is wired to conserve energy and stick to what's familiar. Every habit you've formed, good or bad, serves a purpose. Even habits that seem harmful often exist because they provide some kind of short-term relief or reward. The brain doesn't care if the habit is good for you in the long run. It only cares about what works right now. This is why it's so easy to fall into patterns like procrastination, overeating, or negative self-talk. These habits often provide instant comfort. Even if they cause long-term discomfort to change your habits, you must interrupt the pattern and replace the reward. Let's take a closer look at how. Awareness is the first step. You can't change what you're not aware of. That's why the first step in reshaping your habits is becoming a quiet observer of your behavior. Start noticing the cues in your life. When do you check your phone the most? What triggers your desire to snack, scroll, or avoid work? Which routines do you fall into when you're tired, bored, or stressed? You don't need to judge yourself. You just need to notice. Awareness brings choice, and choice is where discipline begins. Make it easy to do the right thing. One of the biggest mistakes people make is trying to rely solely on willpower. But willpower fades, especially after a long day or when emotions are high. That's why smart self-discipline isn't about trying harder. It's about designing your environment to support your goals. Want to build a reading habit? Leave a book on your pillow. Want to stop checking your phone at night? Charge it in another room. Want to start meditating? Place your mat where you can see it every morning. To be why making good habits easy to start and bad habits harder to continue. You reduce friction and increase success. This is called habit engineering, and it's one of the most practical ways to train discipline without overwhelming yourself. Replace. Don't just remove. If you try to cut out a bad habit without replacing it with something better, you leave a vacuum. And the brain doesn't like empty space. It will go searching for something to fill it. For example, if you stop mindless snacking, replace it with a short walk or a glass of water. If you quit social media scrolling, replace it with journaling or a calming app. If you want to stop negative self-talk, replace it with a positive affirmation practice. The goal isn't just to remove. It's to retrain your brain to associate new routines with satisfying rewards. Stack your habits for maximum effect. One of the easiest ways to build discipline-friendly routines is through habit stacking, attaching a new habit to an existing one. Here's how it works. After I brush my teeth, I'll write 3 things I'm grateful for. After I make my morning coffee, I'll review my top 3 priorities for the day. After I finish my workout, I'll listen to 5 minutes of an audiobook. This technique uses existing neural pathways as anchors, making new habits easier to form and maintain. Your habits shape your identity. Here's something powerful. Every time you follow through on a habit, you cast a vote for the kind of person you want to become. When you run, you're voting to become a healthy person. When you write, you're voting to become a focused, disciplined creator. When you go to bed on time, you're voting to become someone who respects their energy. Over time, these small votes compound. They build a new identity, not through dramatic change, but through quiet consistency. Ask yourself, who are you becoming through your current habits? If the answer doesn't feel aligned, that's okay. It means you've already taken the first step. Awareness, small changes, big results. Too often, we underestimate the power of small actions. But habits are not just daily choices. They're investments in your future. A 1% improvement every day leads to massive change over time. A tiny bad habit repeated daily can lead to big regrets. But a tiny good habit repeated daily can lead to massive momentum. You don't need to overhaul your entire life overnight. Just start with one habit, one decision, one vote for the person you want to become. And when it gets hard, remind yourself, you're not just trying to be disciplined. You're becoming someone who lives with discipline. That's where the transformation happens. In the next chapter, we'll talk about your why, the emotional core behind your actions. Because once you know why something truly matters to you, discipline becomes a natural response, not a forced effort. Let's keep moving forward. Chapter 3. Building a strong why. If self-discipline is the engine that drives success, then your why is the fuel. It's what keeps you moving when the road gets hard, when motivation fades, and when the easiest thing to do is give up. The truth is, without a strong why, discipline feels like a burden. With it, discipline becomes a choice you gladly make. Let's start with a simple but important question. Why do you want to be more disciplined? Most people answer with surface-level goals. I want to lose weight. I want to be more productive. I want to wake up earlier. But those are just outcomes. They're what you want to achieve, not why you want to achieve them. Real change begins when you dig deeper. You don't want to lose weight just for the number on the scale. You want to feel confident, energized, and in control of your life. You don't want to be productive just to cross things off a list. You want to feel accomplished, balanced, and proud of how you're spending your time. You don't want to wake up early just for the sake of it. You want more peace, more clarity, more time for what truly matters. When you know your deeper why, discipline becomes meaningful. You stop seeing discipline as restriction and start seeing it as devotion to a purpose, to a future, to a better version of yourself. Let's talk about how to find that deeper reason. Emotional reasons versus logical reasons. There are two levels of motivation, logical and emotional. Logical reasons live in your mind. They sound good. They make sense. They include things like, I want to improve my health. I need to save money. I should be more consistent. But here's the problem. Logic doesn't drive behavior. Emotion does. Emotion is what moves you, what stirs something inside you, what makes you act even when you don't feel like it. Your emotional reasons live in your heart. They include things like, I want to live long enough to watch my children grow. I'm tired of feeling like I'm not in control of my life. I want to prove to myself that I'm capable of more. These reasons are personal. They matter. And when things get tough, they're what pull you forward. If you want to build lasting self-discipline, you need to connect to your emotional why, not just your logical one. The why ladder exercise. Here's a simple but powerful exercise called the why ladder. It will help you uncover your deeper reasons for wanting change. Step 1. Start with your goal. For example, I want to wake up earlier. Step 2. Ask yourself, why is that important to me? Maybe you say, because I want to have more time to work on myself. Step 3. Ask again, why is that important to me? Maybe you say, because I've spent years putting myself last, and I want to start taking care of my own needs. Keep going, 5 to 7 layers deep. Each answer brings you closer to the emotional root. That root is your true why. You'll know you've found it when your answer makes you pause, feel something, or even tear up a little. That's when it becomes real. That's when it becomes powerful. Discipline fueled by surface-level goals won't last. But discipline fueled by purpose? That's unshakable. Anchor your why to your behavior. Once you've found your why, don't leave it floating in your mind. Anchor it into your daily life. Here's how. Write it down. Put it somewhere you'll see it every day, on your bathroom mirror, your phone's lock screen, or your journal. Speak it aloud. When you're tempted to quit, remind yourself out loud. I'm doing this because saying it gives it power. Visualize it. Spend a few minutes each day imagining the version of you who lives with discipline. Picture what your life looks like, how you feel, what you've built. Let that vision pull you forward. Your why is not a one-time realization. It's a compass, and you need to come back to it often, especially when the path gets hard. Purpose makes pain worth it. Let's be honest. Discipline isn't always comfortable. There will be early mornings, tough choices, missed comforts. But with purpose, the discomfort becomes meaningful. Think of athletes who train before dawn, parents who work 2 jobs, writers who stay up late finishing pages. They all experience discomfort, but they don't stop because their why is stronger than their excuses. Pain without purpose feels like suffering. Pain with purpose feels like progress. When your actions are rooted in purpose, even the hard days feel worth it. You're not just enduring, you're evolving. Let your why evolve. Your why may change over time, and that's okay. What drives you today may not be what drives you a year from now. As you grow, your vision will grow with you. What matters is staying connected to it. Review your why often. Ask yourself, does this still inspire me? Does this still reflect who I'm becoming? Is there something deeper I haven't acknowledged yet? Let your why be alive. Let it evolve. And let it guide your growth. The power of becoming at the end of the day, your strongest why isn't tied to an outcome. It's tied to a transformation. Not just what you want to achieve, but who you want to become. Maybe your why is to become someone who doesn't break promises to themselves. Someone who lives with integrity and intentionality. Someone who leads by example. That's the real reward of self-discipline. Not just the goals, not just the milestones, but the person you become in the process. In the next chapter, we'll talk about how to rewire your brain for consistency. You'll learn how to train your mind to act in alignment with your values, even when you don't feel like it. But before we go there, take some time. Sit with this question: what is your why? Write it, speak it, feel it, because once you know your why, your discipline becomes unstoppable. Chapter 4. Rewiring your brain for consistency. If you've ever started something strong, going to the gym, waking up early, eating clean, only to stop days or weeks later, you're not alone. The truth is, it's not that you're undisciplined or lazy. It's that your brain is wired for comfort, not for change. Consistency doesn't come from brute force. It comes from understanding how your brain works and using that knowledge to your advantage. Let's begin with this powerful truth. The brain is not fixed. It is flexible. And that flexibility is your greatest tool. This concept is known as neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to rewire itself in response to your thoughts, behaviors, and habits. The more you repeat something, the stronger those neural pathways become. And the stronger they are, the more automatic the behavior becomes. Think of your brain like a field of tall grass. The first time you walk through it, you have to push against the blades. It's hard, but if you walk that same path every day, a trail begins to form. Eventually, it becomes the natural way forward. This is exactly how consistency works. The first few days may feel unnatural, uncomfortable, even awkward. But with repetition, your brain begins to adapt. The unfamiliar becomes familiar, and what once felt like effort becomes automatic. Let's explore how to rewire your brain for lasting consistency. Step 1. Start small to go big. Most people fail at consistency because they start too big. They commit to an hour-long workout every day after never exercising. They plan to write a chapter a day when they haven't written in months. They try to change everything at once and get overwhelmed. This triggers resistance. The brain views big, sudden changes as a threat to comfort and survival, so it fights back with procrastination, distraction, or fatigue. The solution: shrink the change. Start with something so small your brain can't reject it. Instead of committing to an hour of writing, commit to 5 minutes. Instead of running 5 miles, start with walking around the block. Instead of overhauling your diet, start with one healthy meal a day. Small wins build trust. They send a signal to your brain: this is safe. This is doable. And over time, those small wins add up to massive results. Step 2. Create a cue-driven routine. Your brain thrives on structure. One of the fastest ways to build consistency is by attaching new habits to existing cues. This is called habit pairing or anchoring. Here's how it works. After I pour my morning coffee, I will meditate for 1 minute. After I brush my teeth at night, I will read 1 page of a book. After I finish lunch, I will walk for 5 minutes. By linking your new behavior to something you already do, your brain begins to associate the two. Eventually, the cue becomes a trigger, and consistency becomes effortless. Remember, the goal is not intensity. The goal is regularity. Step 3. Delay the reward. Train the brain. In today's world, we're used to instant gratification. Social media, fast food, entertainment on demand. We get pleasure fast, and our brains love it. But true discipline requires the opposite: delayed gratification. It's choosing what you want most over what you want now. This is where consistency becomes powerful. Because every time you choose to delay gratification, whether it's saving money, finishing a workout, or saying no to a craving, you're rewiring your brain to value long-term rewards over short-term pleasure. And here's the science behind it. Your brain's reward system, especially the release of dopamine, can be retrained. Initially, Dopamine fires when you eat the cookie, scroll your feed, or skip the workout. But over time, with consistency, you can retrain your brain to release dopamine when you plan, follow through, and complete something worthwhile. Eventually, progress becomes the reward. Action becomes satisfying. Consistency becomes self-reinforcing. This doesn't happen overnight. But every time you show up, you're teaching your brain what really matters. Step 4. Reduce decision fatigue. Your brain has a limited amount of decision-making power each day. This is why highly disciplined people often simplify their routines, meals, clothing, and schedules. They remove the mental clutter so their energy is spent on what truly counts. That if you're constantly debating, should I work out today? What should I eat? When should I start writing? You're draining precious mental energy. The solution? Decide once. Repeat often. Set a specific time, place, and plan for the habits you want to build. Make them non-negotiable. Turn discipline into default. You don't have to wake up every day deciding whether to brush your teeth. You just do it. Apply the same principle to your priorities. Create systems that protect your energy, and your consistency will follow. Step 5. Reframe the struggle. Here's something most people don't understand. Your brain isn't trying to sabotage you. It's trying to protect you. When you feel resistance, fatigue, or boredom, it's your brain's way of saying, this is unfamiliar. This might be risky. Are you sure? Instead of fighting it, reframe it. Tell yourself, this discomfort means I'm growing. This repetition is building my future. This is how new habits feel in the beginning. You're not failing, you're reprogramming. And that process takes time. Expect resistance. But don't let it stop you. With each repetition, the discomfort fades and the path becomes clearer. Step 6. Track and celebrate progress. The brain loves progress. When you see that you're improving, even in small ways, it activates reward centers and keeps you motivated. So track your consistency. Use a habit tracker. Mark an X on a calendar. Journal your daily wins, and most importantly, celebrate. Don't wait until the goal is complete to feel proud. Feel proud when you show up. Feel proud when you stay consistent. Feel proud when you choose discipline over distraction, because these small moments are where transformation begins. Final thoughts. You're training your identity every time you follow through, especially when it's hard. You're not just building a habit. You're building a new identity. You're becoming someone who is consistent, someone who finishes what they start, someone who doesn't rely on motivation to take action. That shift in identity is the foundation of lasting change. Because you will always act in alignment with who you believe you are. So as you build consistency, don't just ask, what do I need to do? Ask, who am I becoming? With each action, you're casting a vote for the person you want to be, and that person, they're already within you. You're just training your brain and your behavior to reflect it. In the next chapter, we'll talk about silencing the inner critic. You'll learn how to stop self-sabotage, challenge negative self-talk, and replace doubt with encouragement, because discipline isn't just about doing. It's also about believing. Let's continue. Chapter 5. Silencing the inner critic. We all have an inner voice, a running commentary in our heads that narrates our thoughts, decisions, and actions. Sometimes, this voice can be motivating, but often, especially when we're struggling or trying to change, it becomes the harshest critic. It tells us we're not good enough, not disciplined enough, not smart enough. It makes us doubt ourselves and erodes our confidence. This voice, often rooted in fear and insecurity, is known as the inner critic. In this chapter, we'll explore what the inner critic really is, how it forms, how it sabotages self-discipline, and most importantly, how to silence it so you can stay consistent with your goals and grow into your best self. What is the inner critic? The inner critic is not your intuition. It's not your moral compass. It's a learned voice, often shaped by childhood experiences, societal expectations, failures, and past traumas. It's the echo of critical teachers, judgmental parents, or painful moments when we didn't feel enough. This voice shows up when we're about to take a risk, try something new, or simply when we fall short. It says things like, you always fail. Why bother? You're too lazy to stick with this. Others are better than you. You'll never catch up. These are not facts. They are deeply ingrained thoughts that feel like truth, but they're not. And when left unchecked, They can paralyze our potential and drain our self-discipline. Why the inner critic thrives during change. Self-discipline is a process of transformation. And transformation, by nature, is uncomfortable. When you start waking up earlier, eating healthier, or committing to long-term goals, you're stepping outside your comfort zone. The inner critic doesn't like that. The brain is wired to protect you from perceived danger. When you break patterns or challenge your identity, your brain can interpret this as unsafe. That's when the inner critic becomes loudest. It wants you to retreat back to what's familiar. Even if that familiarity is procrastination, self-sabotage, or inconsistency. But here's the good news. You're not at war with your inner critic. You're in a conversation, and you get to decide whether to believe it. Step 1. Recognize the voice. Before you can silence the inner critic, you need to identify it. Start by paying attention to your self-talk, especially during challenging moments. Ask yourself, is this voice helping or hurting me? Would I say this to someone I love? Where did this belief even come from? Naming the inner critic as a separate voice from your true self is powerful. Give it a name if it helps. Something lighthearted like Doubt Debbie or Negative Nick. This detachment reminds you that those thoughts are not who you are. Step 2. Challenge the narrative. Once you've recognized the critic, challenge it. You don't have to accept every thought that pops into your head. Ask for evidence. Reframe the story. For example, inner critic, you're going to fail at this like everything else. Reframe, I've failed before, but I've also succeeded. I'm growing, and growth isn't linear. Reframing doesn't mean lying to yourself. It means choosing a perspective that's constructive, not destructive. It shifts your mindset from defeat to possibility. Step 3. Replace criticism with compassion. Self-discipline thrives in a compassionate environment. Many people believe they have to be hard on themselves to stay consistent. But research shows that self-compassion, not self-criticism, is what builds true resilience. When you mess up, skip a workout, eat the junk food, or procrastinate on a project, don't beat yourself up. Instead, say, that wasn't ideal, but I'm still moving forward. Progress, not perfection. I'm learning. One moment doesn't define me. Self-compassion doesn't mean letting yourself off the hook. It means responding with encouragement instead of punishment. And encouragement is fuel for discipline. Step 4. Create a new mental script. Your brain listens to what you say repeatedly. If you want to silence the critic, you need to give your brain a new script. Create affirmations that align with who you want to become. I am capable of doing hard things. Every day, I'm getting stronger and more consistent. My past does not dictate my future. Say them out loud. Write them down. Repeat them when your critic gets loud. Over time, these words will form new neural pathways that support confidence, courage, and consistency. Step 5. Surround yourself with positive voices. The people around you can either amplify your inner critic or help you quiet it. If you're constantly surrounded by negativity, criticism, or comparison, it becomes harder to rewire your thoughts. Seek out people who speak life into you. Listen to podcasts, read books, and follow mentors who empower you. Positive voices create positive environments, and positive environments support disciplined living. Step 6. Practice mindfulness and presence. Mindfulness is a powerful tool for managing the inner critic. When you're present, you're not stuck in the past, where the critic often draws its ammunition, or fearing the future, where it likes to plant doubt. You're simply here, now. Simple practices like deep breathing, meditation, or journaling can ground you. They give you space to observe your thoughts without attaching to them. The more mindful you become, the more you realize that thoughts are just thoughts, not truths. Final thought. You are not broken. The inner critic wants you to believe that something is wrong with you, that you're flawed beyond repair, that discipline is for other people, not for you. But that's a lie. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are human. And being human means having doubts, setbacks, and struggles. But it also means having the capacity for change, growth, and transformation. Silencing the inner critic isn't about achieving perfection. It's about choosing to believe in your progress, to trust in your effort, and to move forward even when your mind tells you not to. Self-discipline doesn't require you to be flawless. It simply asks you to show up, even when it's hard, and especially when the inner critic is loud, because the real voice that deserves to be heard is yours. Chapter 6. The Power of Daily Rituals When People Think About Transformation. True, lasting change. They often imagine a major, one-time breakthrough. But in reality, success and self-discipline are not built in single moments of glory. They are constructed quietly, steadily, and consistently through small, intentional actions repeated every day. This is the power of daily rituals. They're not glamorous, but they are incredibly powerful. What are daily rituals? Daily rituals are the small, habitual actions we take on a consistent basis. Unlike routines, which often feel mechanical or driven by obligation, rituals are done with presence and intention. They carry emotional weight. A ritual is a conscious practice that grounds you in your values and helps you stay aligned with your goals. Think about something as simple as a morning walk, journaling with a cup of tea, or reviewing your goals each night. These might seem like minor moments, but they carry massive momentum over time. The more you repeat them, the more they become a natural part of your identity, and the more disciplined you become. Why rituals outperform motivation? Many people wait for motivation to strike. They hope that a sudden burst of energy will push them into action. But motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes like the weather. Rituals, however, are not dependent on how you feel. They're consistent, and they create structure in your life. Even on the days when motivation is absent, self-discipline thrives in structured environments. Rituals are your framework. They reduce decision fatigue, anchor your focus, and create automatic momentum. When you build rituals into your day, you eliminate the mental effort of deciding what to do next. That's how habits form and how discipline becomes second nature. The science of rituals. Psychological studies show that rituals can reduce anxiety, increase confidence, and improve performance. Athletes, performers, and high achievers often rely on pre-performance rituals not just for comfort, but to enter a state of flow and control. Neurologically, rituals help create strong neural pathways in the brain. When you repeat an action regularly, your brain starts automating it. This frees up mental energy and makes it easier to stay consistent. In short, rituals make self-discipline easier over time. Crafting your core daily rituals. To build meaningful rituals, start by identifying the key areas of your life that require structure: mindset, body, focus, relationships, and growth. Then, create simple practices that support each area. Here are 5 foundational rituals that can transform your day. 1. Morning clarity ritual. Start your day with intention. This could be meditation, reading a few pages of an inspiring book, setting 3 priorities for the day, or writing down one thing you're grateful for. Even 10 minutes of clarity in the morning can shift the entire course of your day. Point 2. Movement ritual. Your body and mind are deeply connected. A daily walk, a quick stretch, or a workout ritual not only strengthens your body but energizes your discipline. Physical movement builds mental resilience. Point 3. Focus ritual. Set a ritual that helps you enter deep work. This might be turning off notifications, setting a timer for focused work sessions, or listening to a specific playlist. Over time, your brain begins to associate this ritual with concentration. Point 4. Connection ritual. Discipline isn't just about achievement. It's also about presence. Create a ritual for meaningful connection. This could be a check-in with a loved one, a few minutes of eye contact with your partner, or simply putting your phone away during meals. Point 5. Evening reset ritual. Before bed, close your day with a sense of completion. Reflect on what you accomplished, journal your thoughts, or prepare for tomorrow. This practice helps reduce stress and trains your brain to associate the end of the day with peace, not chaos. Start small, but stay consistent. The key to making rituals stick is to start small. You don't need a perfect 2-hour morning routine. Start with a 2-minute journal entry or 5 minutes of silence. What matters most is not how big the ritual is, but how consistently you show up for it. Tiny rituals, repeated daily, compound over time. They build your identity as someone who is intentional, focused, and disciplined. And eventually, these rituals stop being something you do. They become part of who you are. Rituals shape identity. Here's something powerful. Every time you perform a ritual, you are casting a vote for the person you want to become. If you journal every morning, you're reinforcing the identity of someone who reflects and grows. If you work out daily, you're becoming someone who values strength and vitality. If you pause each night to review your day, You're shaping yourself into someone who learns from every experience. Identity is not fixed. It is formed and reformed by your actions, and rituals are the clearest expression of those actions. Designing a ritual-driven life to live with discipline is to live with design. Rituals are your blueprint. They remind you of your why. They protect your focus, and they elevate your energy. When you organize your life around meaningful rituals, you no longer chase motivation. You build momentum. In a world full of distractions, rituals bring you back to yourself. They make your days more intentional and your discipline more effortless. Over time, you'll find that your rituals not only shape your day, they shape your destiny. Start small. Pick one ritual, practice it daily, and let it be a doorway to a more disciplined, purpose-driven life. Chapter 7. Time Mastery, not Time Management. We live in an era obsessed with time management. Planners, digital calendars, productivity apps. Every tool promises to help you control your hours, squeeze in more tasks, and optimize every minute. And yet, most people still feel behind. Why? Because time management alone doesn't address the root of the problem. This chapter is about something deeper: time mastery. Mastery is not about controlling the clock. It's about aligning your time with your purpose, your values, and your self-discipline. It's not about doing more. It's about doing what matters most with clarity, consistency, and intention. Let's explore what time mastery means and how you can use it to lead a focused, fulfilling, and self-disciplined life. What is time mastery? Time mastery is the art of directing your attention and energy toward what truly moves the needle in your life. Instead of reacting to every notification, request, or pressure, you become proactive. You own your day instead of letting your day own you. It's the difference between being busy and being effective. Being busy is often just a form of avoidance dressed up as productivity. Time mastery is about moving with intention. It's rooted in three core principles: clarity, know exactly what matters and why; boundaries, protect your time like it's your most valuable asset, because it is; energy alignment, match your most important work with your peak mental hours. The illusion of not enough time. One of the most common lies we tell ourselves is, "I don't have enough time." But let's reframe that. Everyone has the same 24 hours. The real question is, how are you using them? People who master self-discipline don't magically have more time. They've simply become excellent at saying no to what doesn't serve their goals. They prioritize, plan, and focus. Instead of asking, "How can I get more done?" they ask, "What should I stop doing?" Identify your time thieves before we can master our time. We need to uncover the invisible forces that steal it. Ask yourself, how often do I check my phone without realizing it? How much time do I spend scrolling, browsing, or reacting? How often do I say yes to things I should decline? These are your time thieves. They're subtle, seductive, and often disguised as urgent or harmless. But over time, they rob you of hours, creativity, and discipline. The first step toward mastery is awareness. Start tracking your time for just 1 week. You'll be shocked at what you discover. Prioritize like a pro. The rule of 3, one of the most powerful tools in time mastery, is radical simplicity. Every day, choose 3 high-impact tasks, your non-negotiables. These are the things that, if completed, would make your day feel like a success. Focus on them first. Why 3? Because we are not machines. We have limited focus and decision-making power. Trying to do 10 things often results in doing none of them well. But doing 3 essential tasks every day creates momentum, and momentum feeds discipline. Remember, less but better. Time blocking. Give every hour a job. Time blocking is a simple but transformational habit. Instead of keeping an open, chaotic to-do list, you assign tasks to specific blocks of time on your calendar. For example, 8 to 9 a.m. Deep work on creative project, 9 to 9:30 a.m. Email responses, 10 to 11 a.m. Research and reading, 11 to 12 p.m. Team meetings. This structure helps reduce decision fatigue and protects your focus. When you plan your day in advance, you're less likely to drift into distractions or let other people's agendas run your life. More importantly, it reinforces your discipline muscle every time you stick to the plan. Match energy to task. Self-discipline is not just about willpower, it's about strategy. One of the smartest strategies is learning your energy cycles. Ask yourself, when am I most alert? When do I tend to feel tired or distracted? If your brain is sharpest in the morning, use that time for your hardest tasks, writing, planning, problem solving. Leave low-stakes work, emails, errands, for your lower energy windows. Working with your body, not against it, makes discipline feel natural instead of forced. Master the art of saying no. Every yes to something unimportant is a no to something essential. Mastering your time requires courage. The courage to say no to requests, distractions, invitations, and even opportunities that don't align with your deeper goals. Say no to overcommitting. Say no to people-pleasing. Say no to things that sound good but drain your time. Discipline is often about subtraction, not addition. The more you remove the non-essential, the more space you create for what matters. The evening review, a ritual. For reflection before you end your day, take 5 to 10 minutes to review. What did I accomplish today? Where did I slip into distraction? What can I improve tomorrow? This ritual isn't about judgment, it's about awareness. It helps you course correct, stay honest, and reinforce your commitment to growth. And most importantly, it closes your day with intention rather than chaos. Protect the first and last hour. How you start and end your day determines the quality of everything in between. The first hour should be free of distractions. No social media, no email, no outside noise. Use this time to focus inward, meditate, plan, write, exercise. This is your mental warm-up for a disciplined day. The last hour should be a wind-down routine. No screens, no stimulation. Reflect, journal, read, prepare for the next day. Let your mind reset. These 2 anchor points set the tone for everything in between. Final thoughts. Be the master, not the manager. You weren't born to manage your time like a machine. You were born to master your focus, own your day, and live with purpose. Time mastery isn't about squeezing in more. It's about showing up fully for what matters. It's about choosing self-discipline not just in big decisions, but in tiny, repeated choices that shape your future. Master your time, and you master your life. Chapter 8. Discipline in Health and Fitness. When people hear the word discipline, one of the first areas that comes to mind is health and fitness. And for good reason. Taking care of your body requires consistent effort, delayed gratification, and daily choices that don't always feel enjoyable in the moment. But what most people misunderstand is this. Health and fitness are not about short-term diets or workout fads. They are about mastering your mindset, creating systems, and building discipline that endures over time. Health is the foundation of discipline. You cannot pour from an empty cup. If your body is sluggish, your mind will be, too. If your energy is constantly drained by poor nutrition, sleep deprivation, or lack of movement, you won't have the capacity to stay disciplined in other areas of life. That's why building discipline around your health is not just a nice idea. It's essential. Health is the foundation upon which all other discipline is built. That a strong body supports a strong mind. When you take care of your physical well-being, your mental clarity sharpens, your stress resilience increases, and your emotional regulation improves. You begin to show up as your best self in work, relationships, and every goal you set. From willpower to strategy, the mistake many people make is relying on willpower. They try to eat clean and hit the gym every day by sheer force. But willpower is a finite resource. It fades as the day goes on, especially if you're stressed or overwhelmed. Discipline in health and fitness isn't about pushing harder. It's about designing a system that works for you. For example, instead of deciding every morning whether you'll work out, schedule it ahead of time. Make it non-negotiable. Set your clothes out the night before. Instead of hoping you'll eat healthy, prep your meals on Sunday or have a go-to list of balanced meals you can rotate. Create habits that make success easier than failure. Redefining what exercise means. Many people fall into the trap of thinking they have to do an intense workout every day to be healthy. But that mindset often leads to burnout and guilt. Instead, redefine exercise as intentional movement. That could be a brisk walk, a yoga flow, a home workout, or dancing to your favorite playlist. The key is consistency. Discipline isn't built by going hard once a week. It's built by showing up daily in small ways. Even 10 minutes of movement can shift your mood, clear your mind, and keep your habit streak alive. Focus on momentum over perfection. Nutrition. Fueling your disciplined food is not just fuel, it's information. What you eat directly impacts your energy levels, focus, and emotional regulation. Highly processed foods can spike your blood sugar, crash your energy, and make discipline harder. A nourishing diet stabilizes your mood and supports long-term focus. But discipline with food doesn't mean rigid restriction. It means intentional eating. Ask yourself, does this meal energize me or drain me? Am I eating out of boredom, stress, or true hunger? Practice mindfulness at meals. Plan your indulgences so you don't feel deprived, and build your plate around whole foods, lean proteins, healthy fats, fiber-rich carbs, and colorful vegetables. Rest, recovery, and sleep. One of the most overlooked aspects of discipline is rest. You cannot expect your body to perform when it's constantly depleted. Sleep, in particular, is critical. Without quality sleep, your cognitive function drops, cravings increase, and your emotional resilience decreases. You're more likely to skip workouts, binge eat, or make reactive decisions. Make sleep a non-negotiable part of your discipline plan. Create a consistent bedtime routine. Turn off screens an hour before bed, dim the lights, and unwind with something calming like reading or meditation. Prioritize 7 to 9 hours of sleep each night. This isn't laziness, it's strategy. Mental discipline for physical progress. There will be days when you don't feel like working out, cooking a healthy meal, or going to bed on time. That's when your mental discipline kicks in. Remind yourself of your why. Remind yourself that discomfort now creates strength later. Remind yourself that one choice won't change your life, but one repeated choice will. Use mental reframing. Instead of saying, I have to work out, say, I get to move my body. Instead of thinking, I'm too tired to cook, say, fueling myself is an act of self-respect. These shifts may seem small, but they anchor you in purpose and keep you aligned with your goals. Tracking and celebrating small wins. Discipline thrives on momentum. One of the best ways to stay disciplined in health and fitness is to track your progress, but not just the scale or physical appearance. Track how many days you move, how you feel after eating well, how your mood improves with sleep, or how much stronger you feel after a week of workouts. Celebrate these small wins. Discipline doesn't have to feel like a chore. It can be empowering. When you acknowledge your progress, you reinforce the identity of someone who takes care of their body. That identity becomes stronger every time you act in alignment with it. Overcoming common roadblocks. Let's address some of the most common excuses. I don't have time. You don't need an hour. Even 20 minutes of focused movement counts. Health doesn't require perfection, just intention. I don't know where to start. Start with walking daily and cleaning up one meal at a time. Keep it simple. You don't need a perfect plan to begin. I always fall off track. That's okay. Everyone slips. The goal isn't to never fall. It's to get back up quicker each time. Progress isn't linear. It's a curve with consistent effort. Make it a lifestyle, not a phase. Ultimately, health and fitness are not 30-day challenges. They're lifelong journeys of self-respect, self-discipline, and self-discovery. When you treat your body with care, you build trust with yourself. You show yourself that you can follow through. You prove that your goals matter enough to act on them. Discipline in this area spills into every other part of life. The strength you build by getting up early to exercise, saying no to temptations, or sticking to your sleep routine, even when it's hard, becomes the same strength that helps you stay focused at work, pursue big goals, and lead by example. The disciplined life is the empowered life. And it begins with how you treat your body. Chapter 9. Financial self-discipline. Money is more than just numbers in a bank account. It represents freedom, security, and the ability to live life on your own terms. Yet, for many, managing money feels overwhelming, stressful, or even confusing. The truth is, financial self-discipline isn't about being rich. It's about being intentional, consistent, and responsible with the resources you have. In this chapter, we'll explore how to build financial self-discipline, develop healthy money habits, and transform your relationship with money to support your goals and values. Understanding financial self-discipline. At its core, financial self-discipline is the ability to control your spending, saving, and investing behaviors over time, even when temptation and impulse push you in the opposite direction. That it's about making choices today that benefit your future self, rather than giving in to immediate gratification. This requires clarity about what matters most to you. Realistic goal setting. and the strength to say no to unnecessary expenses, even when it's difficult. The psychology behind spending, understanding why you spend money, is the first step in mastering financial discipline. Many people use spending to fill emotional gaps, stress, boredom, loneliness, or even as a reward. This is called emotional spending, and it can quickly sabotage financial goals that gain control. Start observing your spending patterns. When do you tend to spend impulsively? What triggers these purchases? How do you feel before and after spending? Awareness is the first step toward change. By identifying your emotional triggers, you can begin to interrupt unhealthy spending habits. Building a budget that works for you. The word budget often brings up feelings of restriction or deprivation. But a good budget is not a punishment. It's a plan that aligns your money with your priorities. Start by tracking your income and expenses for a month. This gives you a clear picture of where your money is going. Next, categorize your spending. Essentials, rent, utilities, groceries, savings and investments, and discretionary spending. Set realistic limits based on your goals. Remember, a budget is flexible. It's a living document that you adjust as your circumstances change. Automate your savings. One of the most effective ways to build financial discipline is to automate your savings. Treat your savings like a bill you must pay each month. Set up automatic transfers from your checking account to a savings or investment account. This removes the temptation to spend what you intend to save. Over time, these small, consistent deposits grow into meaningful wealth. Practice delayed gratification with spending. Just as delayed gratification fuels discipline in other areas, it's key to managing money wisely. Before making a purchase, especially a non-essential one, practice the 24-hour rule. Wait at least 24 hours before buying. This pause gives your rational mind time to weigh whether the purchase aligns with your goals or is just an impulse. You might discover that many purchases you thought you needed aren't truly necessary. Avoid debt traps. Debt, especially high-interest debt like credit cards, can quickly erode financial stability and discipline. That if you have debt, create a plan to pay it down aggressively. Focus on paying off the highest interest debts first, while making minimum payments on others. Avoid accumulating new debt by living within your means. Financial discipline means saying no to things you can't afford, even if everyone else seems to have them. Invest in your future. Financial discipline isn't just about cutting expenses, it's about making your money work for you. Learn the basics of investing, retirement accounts, and compound interest. Even small contributions to investment accounts can grow exponentially over time. Remember, time in the market often beats timing the market. Start early, stay consistent, and keep learning. Mindset shifts. For financial discipline, changing your money habits requires shifting your mindset from scarcity to abundance. Scarcity mindset thinks, there's never enough. Abundance mindset believes, I have control and I can grow my resources. Practice gratitude for what you have. Recognize progress, no matter how small. Celebrate financial wins. Build patience and resilience. Financial discipline is a marathon, not a sprint. Align spending with your values. Discipline becomes easier when your money reflects your deepest values. Ask yourself, what experiences or things truly bring me joy? What am I willing to invest in because it supports my growth or happiness? Where can I cut back without sacrificing my well-being? Spending aligned with values creates satisfaction, reduces buyer's remorse, and reinforces discipline. Tracking progress and adjusting. Just like any discipline, tracking your financial progress helps maintain momentum. Review your budget monthly. Celebrate milestones, debt paid off, savings goals reached, investment growth. Adjust your plan as life changes. New job, family, goals. Remember, flexibility doesn't mean failure. It means adaptation. Final thought. Financial freedom through discipline. Financial self-discipline is not about living a joyless life of sacrifice, that it's about creating freedom. Freedom from worry, freedom to pursue dreams, freedom to give and contribute meaningfully. Discipline in your finances empowers you to make choices aligned with your true self, rather than reacting to external pressures or fleeting desires. As you cultivate financial self-discipline, you're not just managing money, you're shaping your future and building a foundation for a life of purpose and peace. Chapter 10. How to stay on track when you want to quit. Every journey towards self-discipline and personal growth encounters moments of doubt, fatigue, and temptation to give up. These moments are inevitable. They are part of the process. The question is not whether you will face them, but how you respond when they come. In this chapter, we will explore strategies to help you stay on track when quitting feels like the easiest option. Understanding why you feel like quitting and having practical tools to overcome that urge is crucial for long-term discipline and success. Recognizing the desire to quit first, it's important to acknowledge that feeling like quitting does not mean failure. It means you are human. You might want to quit because you're exhausted physically or mentally. Progress feels slow or invisible. You're overwhelmed by obstacles. You face self-doubt or negative self-talk. External circumstances make persistence difficult. Recognizing these feelings as natural helps remove shame and opens the door for constructive responses. Reconnect with your why. When motivation wanes, reconnecting with your deeper purpose, the reason you started, can reignite your commitment. Ask yourself, why did I begin this journey? What is the long-term benefit I'm striving for? How will quitting affect my future self? Sometimes writing your why down or visualizing the outcome can bring clarity and renewed energy. Your purpose is the anchor that holds you steady amid uncertainty. Break it down. Focus on the next small step when the big picture feels overwhelming. Zoom in on just the next small action. Instead of thinking, I have to complete this entire project, focus on, I will work for 10 minutes, or I will take one step forward. Small steps reduce resistance and build momentum. Discipline is like a muscle. It strengthens with each manageable repetition. Use the power of habits and rituals. Discipline becomes easier when actions are habitual. During moments of doubt, lean on your established rituals. For example, if your ritual is morning journaling, do it even if you don't feel like it. If you plan to work out, put on your shoes and start moving. Even if it's a short walk, starting is often the hardest part. Once you begin, momentum often carries you through. Practice self-compassion, not self-criticism. Quitting is sometimes driven by harsh self-judgment. Instead of saying, I'm weak, or I'll never succeed, practice kindness toward yourself. Remind yourself that setbacks are part of growth. Speak to yourself as you would to a friend, with encouragement, patience, and understanding. Self-compassion fuels resilience. It keeps you moving forward, rather than retreating. Visualize the consequences of quitting. Visualization is a powerful mental tool. Spend a few moments imagining what your life would look like if you quit now. What opportunities would you miss? How would you feel? Contrast that with imagining the satisfaction and growth you'll experience if you persist. This contrast can create a sense of urgency and renewed determination. Reach out for support. Discipline doesn't mean doing everything alone. When quitting feels tempting, connect with someone who understands your goals. This could be a mentor, friend, coach, or accountability partner. Sharing your struggles lessens the burden and often provides fresh perspective, motivation, and encouragement. Reframe challenges as growth opportunities. Every obstacle is a chance to learn and become stronger. Instead of viewing setbacks as failures, see them as experiments or feedback. Ask yourself, what is this challenge teaching me? How can I adjust and improve? What strengths can I develop by facing this difficulty? This mindset shift turns quitting impulses into stepping stones. Use the 5-minute rule. Commit to doing the task for just 5 minutes. Often, starting is the hardest barrier. Once you begin, the resistance diminishes. If after 5 minutes you still want to quit, reassess. But many times, you'll find it easier to continue once you've started. Celebrate persistence, not perfection. Remember, discipline is about showing up consistently, not being perfect. Celebrate each moment you choose. Persistence over quitting. Tracking your wins, even small ones, builds confidence and rewires your brain for continued effort. Final thoughts. Quitting is temporary. Discipline builds permanence. Feeling like quitting is natural and temporary. Discipline is the commitment to keep going despite that feeling. Every time you resist the urge to quit, you strengthen your resilience and deepen your self-discipline. You build a foundation that supports your goals, even when the path is hard. When quitting feels like the easiest option, remember, the strongest version of yourself is waiting on the other side of persistence. Keep moving forward. Chapter 11. The role of accountability and environment. When it comes to self-discipline, the journey isn't taken in isolation. Two powerful forces shape your ability to stay consistent and reach your goals: accountability and environment. They work hand in hand to either support your progress or undermine your efforts. Understanding and harnessing these forces can dramatically amplify your discipline and transform your habits into lasting success. Why accountability matters. Accountability means being answerable to someone or something for your actions. It creates an external structure that reinforces your internal commitment. When you know someone is watching, cheering you on, or expecting results, it becomes harder to give in to temptation or procrastination. Psychological research shows that people are significantly more likely to follow through on their commitments when they share their goals with others. Accountability adds a social dimension to discipline. It taps into our natural desire for connection and approval. Types of accountability. Accountability doesn't have to be complicated or formal. It can take many forms. Personal accountability. This involves self-monitoring, journaling progress, or setting clear goals and deadlines for yourself. Social accountability. Sharing your goals with friends, family, or colleagues who encourage and check in on your progress. Professional accountability. Working with coaches, mentors, or accountability partners who provide guidance, feedback, and motivation. Public accountability. Committing to goals in a public forum or social media can increase motivation due to the perceived audience. Each type offers unique benefits, and combining several can create a robust support system. How to create an accountability system. To build a strong accountability structure, choose your partners wisely. Look for people who genuinely support your growth and can provide constructive feedback without judgment. Set clear, measurable goals. Vague intentions won't cut it. Define what success looks like and set deadlines. Schedule regular check-ins. Consistent follow-ups, whether daily, weekly, or monthly, help maintain momentum. Be honest and transparent. Share your struggles as well as successes. Accountability thrives in openness. Celebrate wins together. Recognizing progress reinforces motivation for both you and your accountability partners. The power of environment. In shaping behavior, your environment is the physical and social context in which you live and work. It heavily influences your habits, decisions, and energy levels. That a well-designed environment makes disciplined choices easy and automatic. A cluttered, distracting, or negative environment makes even simple tasks harder. The principle is simple. Your environment either supports your goals or sabotages them. Design your environment for discipline. Here's how to shape your surroundings. To boost self-discipline, remove distractions. Clear your workspace of unnecessary gadgets, notifications, and clutter. Designate a specific area for focused work. Create visual cues. Use reminders like sticky notes, vision boards, or scheduled alarms that prompt you to act on your goals. Surround yourself with positive influences. Spend time with people who inspire, challenge, and encourage you. Make good habits easy. Keep workout clothes visible if you want to exercise. Prep healthy snacks within reach if you want better nutrition. Limit temptation. If junk food or distractions are within arm's reach, discipline will be harder. Out of sight often means out of mind. Social environment and peer influence. Humans are social creatures, and our behaviors often mirror those around us. If your social circle values discipline, growth, and positivity, you're more likely to adopt those traits. Conversely, if you're surrounded by negativity, procrastination, or unhealthy habits, maintaining discipline becomes an uphill battle. Seek out communities, groups, or friendships aligned with your values. Join clubs, attend workshops, or participate in online forums focused on your goals. Accountability and environment. A synergistic relationship. Accountability and environment work best together. Imagine an environment designed for productivity combined with an accountability partner who checks in regularly. This powerful combination creates multiple layers of support, making it easier to stay disciplined even when motivation wanes. Overcoming environmental barriers. Sometimes you don't have full control over your environment. Workplaces, homes, or social settings may be less than ideal. In such cases, create microenvironments. Use noise-canceling headphones, privacy screens, or find quiet corners to focus. Set boundaries. Communicate your needs clearly to those around you. Use digital tools. Apps that block distractions or schedule focus sessions can simulate a productive environment. Seek supportive networks. If your immediate environment is unsupportive, online communities or mentors can provide the accountability and encouragement you need. Final thought. Your environment and accountability are your allies. Self-discipline is not solely an internal battle. It's a system supported by external forces. By intentionally designing your environment and cultivating accountability, you create a foundation that makes discipline sustainable and even enjoyable. You don't have to rely on willpower alone. With the right environment and accountability structures, your path to growth becomes clearer, easier, and more rewarding. Chapter 12. Becoming the person who just doesn't quit. The journey of self-discipline is a marathon, not a sprint. Along the way, you will face setbacks, frustrations, and moments when giving up seems like the easiest path. Yet, the people who succeed, who achieve lasting change, share a common trait. They simply don't quit. They cultivate an unshakable commitment to keep moving forward. No matter what. In this chapter, we'll explore how to become that person, the one who perseveres through challenges, embraces discomfort, and turns quitting into a foreign concept. This transformation is less about extraordinary talent and more about mindset, habits, and identity. Understanding what it means to not quit. Not quitting doesn't mean blindly pushing through without rest or awareness. It means showing up consistently, even when it's hard. Choosing progress over perfection. Learning from failures instead of fearing them. Maintaining hope and belief in your purpose. That it's a choice you make daily, moment by moment. It's a commitment to your future self. The power of identity and persistence. One of the most effective ways to become someone who doesn't quit is to build your identity around perseverance. When you see yourself as the kind of person who keeps going, your actions start to align with that belief. This is the principle of identity-based habits. Your behaviors follow your identity, not just your goals. Start by declaring who you want to be. Say to yourself, I am a person who finishes what I start. I am resilient and persistent. I embrace challenges as opportunities. Repeat these affirmations regularly to reinforce your identity. Embracing discomfort as a growth tool. Discomfort is inevitable in any meaningful endeavor. The difference between quitting and persisting is how you relate to discomfort. Instead of avoiding it, learn to embrace it as a sign of growth. When you feel discomfort, recognize it as temporary and purposeful. Use it as feedback that you're stretching beyond your comfort zone. Practice mindfulness to observe discomfort without judgment. Remind yourself that discomfort is often the gateway to transformation. By reframing discomfort, you reduce the power it has over you and increase your ability to persist. Develop a growth mindset. Psychologist Carol Dweck's concept of the growth mindset is central to not quitting. People with a growth mindset believe their abilities can improve with effort and learning. They see failure as a stepping stone, not a dead end. To cultivate a growth mindset, view setbacks as opportunities to learn. Ask, what can I do differently next time? Celebrate effort and progress, not just results. Surround yourself with stories and people who exemplify growth. This mindset fuels persistence and resilience. Build a support system that encourages tenacity. No one succeeds alone. To become the person who doesn't quit, surround yourself with people who inspire and support your determination. Seek mentors, friends, or groups who encourage you during tough times. Hold you accountable gently but firmly. Celebrate your wins, big and small. Share their own stories of perseverance. A strong support network can be your anchor when your own motivation falters. Cultivate patience and long-term vision. Quitting often stems from impatience, wanting immediate results or relief from discomfort. Discipline is about playing the long game. Cultivate patience by setting realistic, incremental goals, reflecting regularly on how far you've come, visualizing the long-term benefits of persistence, reminding yourself that success is rarely instantaneous. Patience turns persistence from a burden into a sustainable lifestyle. Practice self-care to sustain persistence. Not quitting doesn't mean burning out. Sustained discipline requires balance, rest, recovery, and self-compassion. Pay attention to your physical and emotional needs. Prioritize sleep and nutrition. Take breaks when needed. Engage in activities that rejuvenate you. Be kind to yourself when you stumble. Self-care fuels your capacity to persevere over the long haul. Use visualization and affirmations. Daily visualization is a powerful way to mentally rehearse persistence. Spend time each day imagining yourself overcoming obstacles and staying committed. Pair this with affirmations reinforcing your identity. I am resilient. I overcome challenges with grace. I keep moving forward no matter what. These mental practices prepare your brain to act in alignment with your goals. Learn to reframe failure and setbacks. Every successful person experiences failure. The key is not letting failure define you. When setbacks occur, acknowledge your feelings without judgment. Analyze what happened objectively. Extract lessons and adjust your approach. Remember that persistence often requires multiple attempts. Reframing failure as part of the process reduces fear and strengthens resolve. Celebrate the journey, not just the outcome. Finally, becoming someone who doesn't quit means appreciating the process, not just the destination. Celebrate small victories and consistent effort. Enjoy the growth, learning, and self-discovery that come with persistence. When you value the journey, you're more likely to stay committed even when the road is tough. Final thoughts. The person who doesn't quit is within you. Becoming the person who just doesn't quit is not about innate talent or luck. It's about intentional choices, mindset shifts, and daily habits. It's about believing in your capacity to grow, honoring your purpose, and showing up. Even on the hardest days, the more you practice persistence, the more it becomes your natural state. And when quitting is no longer an option in your mind, you unlock the power to achieve anything you truly desire. Keep going. Your future self will thank you. Conclusion. Self-discipline is self-respect. As we reach the end of this journey exploring self-discipline, it's important to pause and reflect on what self-discipline truly represents. Far beyond rules, schedules, or restrictions, self-discipline is a profound act of self-respect. It is a commitment to honor your potential, your values, and your deepest aspirations through intentional action. The connection between discipline and respect at its core, self-discipline signals that you value yourself enough to show up consistently, even when it's challenging. It means treating your goals, not as distant dreams, but as promises to yourself worth keeping. Each time you choose discipline over convenience, you send a message to yourself. I am worthy. My growth matters. My future is important. This respect isn't about perfection or harsh self-judgment. It's about kindness paired with commitment. It's the recognition that your time, energy, and well-being deserve careful stewardship. Self-discipline is a form of love. When you practice self-discipline, you are actively loving yourself through your choices. You choose nourishing foods, restorative rest, focused work, and healthy boundaries because you care deeply about your well-being and potential. This love fuels motivation in a sustainable way. It replaces fleeting bursts of willpower with a lasting foundation of care. Discipline built on self-love becomes a source of empowerment, not punishment. The ripple effect of self-respect, the respect you cultivate for yourself through discipline, ripples outward. It affects how you relate to others, how you face challenges, and how you pursue your purpose. When you respect yourself, you set higher standards in relationships, work, and life decisions. You become a role model for others, inspiring them to honor their own worth. This ripple effect creates positive momentum, not only in your life, but also in the lives of those around you. Discipline creates freedom. Paradoxically, self-discipline leads to greater freedom. By saying no to distractions, procrastination, and destructive habits, you open space for what truly matters. Discipline frees you from the chaos of impulsivity and regret. It empowers you to design a life aligned with your values and dreams. The more disciplined you become, the more control you have over your destiny. A lifelong commitment. Self-discipline is not a destination, but a lifelong practice. It evolves as you grow, facing new challenges and aspirations. There will be days of struggle and days of triumph. Through it all, remember that choosing discipline is choosing to respect yourself again and again. Every step forward is a step toward becoming the best version of yourself. Final reflection as you move forward. Carry this truth with you. Self-discipline is self-respect in action. It is the daily choice to honor your potential, nurture your growth, and protect your well-being. When you live with discipline, you live with integrity toward yourself and the life you are creating. Respect yourself enough to keep showing up. Your future self is waiting with gratitude. Thank you for allowing this book to accompany you on your path. May your journey of self-discipline be one of empowerment, growth, and profound self-respect.